Maine Knows How. Brought to you by True Enterprises, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, Digital Spirit Media, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Maine Knows How.
Welcome to the September edition of Maine Knows How. You've done it again, Bob. I'm here again. This cannot keep going like this.
Well, you're good.
Good for what?
Well, we ain't going down that road. We're going to leave it open. But we'll be glad when
Mr. Tim.
Mr. Corbett is holding that seat down.
I know. We need the general back in his chair.
I know it.
You know, I'm way more comfortable hiding behind the monitor. Today we have Brian Finnemore is our director and our producer, and he gets to hide behind all the equipment and tell us what to do.
He knows that stuff, though.
Yeah, we like that. Hey, what do we got going on in September?
Well,
What's the program doing? Anything?
The program is taking bear hunters.
Yep.
We're taking a
Seems like bear, more bears, you know?
It's a lot of bear. Everybody wants to come bear hunting.
Yeah.
You know, you get a fair number of deer hunters, but when I put a thing out to go bear hunting, I'll get hundreds of people that want to
Boy, that story that Randy told about the double amputee that came bear hunting and how that moved him, and that was a heck of a story.
Incredible.
If you didn't catch it, folks, last month, August, we had Randy Flannery from Wilderness Escape Outfitters, and they were sharing bear stories, he and Bob, and you might want to go back and check that show out if you missed it. So who have you rounded up this week?
Well, I have a friend of mine I've had for a long time, and we've been in the same business for a long time, and continue to be guiding, hunting, fishing, guiding, fishing, and all different, doing the shows together, and after 30, 40 years, we're still friends, and it's
no kidding,
really good. And his name is Hal Blood, and I think you'll enjoy listening to him and having a little talk.
Just give me a little overview about this. I've heard that name before, but I don't know a lot about Hal Blood.
Well, Hal is a world famous deer tracker.
World famous.
World famous. Yep. And he's an author, and he's written quite a few books on how to become a better deer hunter.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to learn.
Does he do seminars and stuff like Randy does?
He does. He does them all over. And,
no kidding.
He has his own podcast, Big Woods Bucks. Everybody
Woods
here,
Bucks.
check him out, because it's really worth, if you haven't already.
Now, these for like the serious deer hunters that want to really sharpen their skills and become a better deer hunter, maybe get that wall hanger.
I would say if it was anybody interested in hunting.
Okay.
Because they don't just deer hunt. He specializes in that, but Maine is there's 12 months in a year.
Yeah.
And to be that efficient, you have to hunt a lot of times out of the year where you don't carry a gun. You know. So
he's not just a deer hunting background.
No, he's a bear baiter, and a fisherman.
No kidding.
And he years ago he was a rabbit hunter.
Really?
He rabbit hunted, and so he's been a whole lifetime in the wilderness and in the woods, living this life.
Okay.
And that's what you need to be.
Well, why don't we start talking about it and get him on?
All right. Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
Looking to save on utility costs? True Enterprises is a local solar installation team with over a decade of experience delivering custom energy solutions across Maine. Whether you're powering a home, business, or large-scale project, True handles everything from design and installation to long-term support. They make the process simple and the results reliable. Call today for a free estimate or visit trueenterprisesllc.com.
Welcome back to Maine Knows How. You know, I am kind of mesmerized by this guest that's coming up, a world-famous author, deer hunter, lodge owner, bear hunter, rabbit hunter, fisherman. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, we're just a couple of good old boys up here in Pleasant Ridge trying to run a veterans, first responder, law enforcement benefit program. And we have the likes of Hal Blood with us today.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming. And I'm ready to ask you questions because I don't know. Where did you start out here in Maine, and how the heck did you get into what you're doing now?
I've had a long journey.
We all have.
Yeah, I grew up in southern Maine, actually.
Oh, you're not one of those, are you?
Yeah, grew up around Portland.
Cot. No.
Yeah, lived in Westbrook, Yarmouth, Scarborough. And as soon as I got out of high school, I went in the Marine Corps. I wanted to be a game warden back then. Yeah. It's the only thing I figured I could do to keep me in the woods, because when I was a kid, I remember when I was little, back when I was a kid, or we were a kid, we were outside. We did play around the house.
Hal, we did that same story that we shared between me, Randy, and Bob.
Yeah, you're out of the house, especially in the summer.
Yep.
And all I did was went in the woods.
Amen.
We lived in Westbrook, but we were out on the Wyndham side, so it was, back then, it was lots of woods there. And I just, usually by myself, once in a while a buddy, but I just roamed in the woods and studied things in the woods. And I mean, from the time I was 6, 7 years old, I did that.
Yeah.
And just crazy about it. Started rabbit hunting, because when we were 10, we could hunt. My grandfather had the beagles. That's how I got into the rabbit hunt. And so went from there to deciding, when you're a teenager, you got to think about what you're going to do, because I knew at 18 I weren't going to be in the house no more. I was going to be on my own, because my parents had 5 of us.
You're not going to live in the basement.
No, I wasn't going to live in the basement. So I was getting out. So you had to be 20 to be a game warden. So I'm getting out of school. I'm 18. So I said, I'll go in the service a couple of years and then get out and be a game warden. So that was right after Vietnam, and the draft ended. You remember that?
I do.
They ended the draft.
I do.
And the recruiters came to the high schools. A lot of people don't realize that, that's what happened. And they gave you these, it was called a GCT test, it was General Clerical Technical Skills.
Yeah.
And then they all the branches were there doing it when you were a senior, and they got the test results, and they called who they wanted to, whatever they were looking for,
Yeah.
Guess that's how it went. But anyways, the Marine Corps called me first. I was going in the service, and I didn't know which one,
Okay. Yeah.
And they said, I would like to have you come down and see what the Marine Corps has got to offer. I go,
now, being a Navy guy, I would quickly say you probably scored the lowest of everybody out there, and the Marine Corps picked you up.
Yeah. That's not quite what happened, but
It's a story.
I could have thought of that, and probably that would have been all right with it. Come to find out, they kept asking me, offering me all these schools, and I had no interest, avionics and all these technical schools. And I go, I'm not interested in that. Finally, the recruiter goes, what are you interested in? I go, well, I like to hunt, fish, camp, and that stuff. And he goes, I got just the thing for you. Go infantry. So I said, he painted the rosy picture, he goes, you go out and
you'll be
train during the week, and then you have weekends off. And I go, yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, my God. How long did you serve?
4 years.
Did you really?
Yeah, 4 years. I was going to go in for 2, and I said, yeah, I'll do that. I want to go in for 2 years. Well, when they ended the draft, there was no more 2 years. It was 3.
Yeah.
I said, all right, I'll go for 3. He goes, they just come out with this program.
We'll give you a little more money.
They'll give you a $2,500 bonus if you sign up for 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, in 1975, when I signed up, $2,500 was a lot of money.
Yep.
I was signing into the Navy in 75.
Yep.
And I always respect, I have to admit to my Navy buddies out there and stuff, I never thought I'd tough enough to be a Marine. I mean, you guys, I was scared to death of the boot camp and everything that you guys went through. You're tough, and my hat's off to you boys.
I got a funny story about that too. But anyway, so I said, yeah, okay, give me 4,
Yeah.
So And my recruiter ended up getting me because of the recruiting. You mentioned, it was right after Vietnam and nobody wanted to go in the Marine Corps.
Right.
So they had this program, it was called Temporary Additional Duty, where you got to be at home and you helped your recruiters in your hometown.
I'll be done.
And it was 30 days. So after boot camp, we had 10 days leave. I got 30 more days home and got paid extra. It was nice TAD pay. And all I had to do was go with the recruiters and talk all my buddies into going in. I went to school with, you know.
Right.
And back then in Portland, they had a allotment or whatever that they had to get every month. It was 5 or 6 each month. Well, I recruited 6 of them in a month, not to go all the same month, but I did their whole what they needed, their whole month's worth. I recruited for them in a month. So, yeah,
they were happy with you.
Yeah.
So did we get to become a game warden?
No, I was getting to that. So I get through my 4 years, and I got married in my last year, and so I wrote to the state, because that's what you did back then. You didn't email, you know.
Right.
I wrote a letter to the Fish and Wildlife, and I wanted an application to be a game warden, and I get a letter back from them. We're not hiring. We're not even taking applications. And I go,
oh,
I did 4 years, and I'm not even going to get an application. So I'm like, you know, so now I got a realization. Now what am I going to do?
Right.
So I was getting out in about 6 months. So I said, man, I don't know. Well, I knew I got married, so now I got to support my wife. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll find something. So
you could end up in the mill with Robert.
Could have, yeah. But I did, you know, I was familiar with around there, and I had an uncle that I worked for every summer when I was a teenager. He had income properties, and I painted and did all that stuff, and he was just had bought another one and was renovating it, a duplex apartment. So we was going to rent from him, and I'd figure out what I was going to do for work. And I got out. I had saved my leave up 45 days so I could get out 45 days early and be paid. We headed home, and the only thing I knew, my father was a truck driver. I said, maybe I'll drive a truck. You know, I couldn't think of anything. I said, I got to do something. And I had my Class 1 license in the Marine Corps. I went down to DMV to get a Maine license, and they wouldn't give me one. They go, no, you got to take a road test. And I'm like, I got a military.
Yeah,
they wouldn't take it. And
Okay.
I'm like, so all I'm thinking is, well, I got to rent a truck, and I didn't have the money for that, you know. So I said, and my uncle kept saying, I went to a couple of other trucking companies, and they said, well, if you get your license, and they wouldn't like take me on and get me a license, in other words. So my uncle goes, I go down to Hannaford's. They're always hiring. Well, Hannaford's was brand new. They were just a food distributor, and they were doing like the Martins and different ones, and which they ended up buying them all afterwards.
Cottles and stuff like that.
So I ran down there, went into said I'd like to apply for a job, and they said, all right. And they gave me an application. I filled it out, and I handed it to the gal, and she said, well, we're not hiring right now. And I said, all right, I'll keep looking, you know. I lived about 6 miles from there. I drove home. Before I got home, they'd already called, and my wife answered the phone, and when I got home, she goes, Hannaford called. They want you to call. And I go, I just left there. So I called them back, and they said, yeah, we want you to come down for an interview. All right. So I don't know, whatever, the next day or two, I went down, and I went in to see the HR gal or whatever, and talked to her and told her what I'd done. She
still looking for a trucking job?
No, I went to Hannaford's for anything.
Any job.
Yeah, in the warehouse.
Gonna be a bag boy.
It was the warehouse, really, was what you could do.
You just needed a job.
Yeah, I needed a job.
Right.
Yeah. So I had the interview, and she goes, well, I don't have a position for you right now, but I'm going to let you know when something opens up. And I go, that's fine. I'll keep looking. Drove home again. Time I get 6 miles home, Deb says, Hannaford called. I go, I just left there.
That's crazy.
So the gal goes, I got a job for you. And all I could think of was afterwards was, She didn't want me to get away because I was a Marine that had probably a strong back to lift them boxes in the warehouse, right? That's probably what they wanted.
Maybe.
So anyways, they hired me.
Yeah.
I get in there and started doing that. It was actually a nice place to work. You know, it was pretty good pay for, you know, you were on a time standard to get started, but it was mindless work for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're selecting grocery orders around in this warehouse. And after 6 months, you know, your trial period, I'm like, everybody in there, everybody was goal in life was to get on first shift and work the days. And I'm like, that's quite a goal in life, you know? So anyway, 2 years into it, I ended up working down the freezer, and there was only 5 or 6 of us, which was nice. And then one day, my father-in-law, who was a lobsterman in Harpswell, that's where my wife was from, he had been out for 2 years with his back. He had a back operations, and he was going to heal up enough to get back in. He goes, how'd you like to try lobstering? I'm like, yep, I do. Because all I could think of was no time clock and outside work.
Yeah.
So I went down and worked for him for a couple of years and figured out, looking around, the money's being made by the guy that has the boat.
Right.
So I bought my own boat and went on my own. Did that I was supposed to do it. I told my wife I was going to do it for 10 years, and we were headed north. I only made it 9.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we bought property, started building a cabin, you know, and working into that. At that point,
when did the idea of, I think I might want to be a guide, pop in your head?
Well,
at what point? In
probably
the freezer at Hannaford.
Shortly after that, you know, right, probably when I was in Hannaford's, I got to do something different. So I said, the only way I'm going to get in the woods is to be a guide, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. And I told her when I started lobstering, I said, this is temporary. This is to kind of work towards getting into the woods. So in that interim, I got my guide's license back in the 80s there, and we started building the place, and then just moved up. And
what was the name of your lodge?
It was Cedar Ridge Outfitters.
And you were located out of?
Jackman.
Yep.
I bought the land and built every cabin, built the lodge.
Rodney Small's game warden territory at one time.
Rodney started building his cabins like the next year after I started or something when he moved up.
Yeah, I did some shows with him.
Yeah. And we built everything there. It was a struggle. I don't know how we made it back then.
And were you doing everything?
Yeah.
You were guiding everything, fishing?
Trying to guide people, trying to get new business because it wasn't established. I went to a couple of shows early on, but after about 4 or 5 years of that, we didn't need to do them anymore. We just started having repeat people and people
word of mouth,
and built it, you know.
That's a hard way to do it. If you inherit a lodge or walk into a lodge that's pre-existing, that's one thing. But to carve one out of nothing, that's a hard job.
It was. I don't know how we made it. We were broke most of the time.
Yeah.
I remember times I'd have to ask Deb if there was enough money to buy gas to get out of town to buy some bear bait, you know, something like that, just to leave town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Understand 100%.
Yeah. It was like that. I mean, it was bad. And we struggled through it. And then once we, you know, it's always like the first 5 years they tell you in business is the worst. But I think with that one, it was probably really about 10 years.
Yeah.
Because we were still building stuff even. We built the last cabin, I think, at about 10 years into it. And then we renovated some other stuff, and we put a pool in, and, you know, it was kind of resorty, really. It ended up being
very nice
for the summer people and all of that.
Well, you have to, today, being a guide, it's very hard to just be one niche.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the broad base, what you do.
Yeah.
12 seasons. And
I picked Jackman for that reason, because I knew it was a 4-season area, because it was like kind of the snowmobile capital of Maine and stuff. And so that's why I picked it for that reason. Plus, I started coming there back in the 70s with my relatives trout fishing in the spring.
Yeah.
That's how I got introduced to the area. And then, anyways, I made my first trip up there deer hunting in I was working at Hannaford's. I got a week's vacation. And back then, you remember when back in the day, there was more deer up north and down southern Maine. And they had 4 weeks up north and 3 weeks. Well, down here had 3. The railroad tracks was the line, north-south line.
Started up there earlier.
Started a week earlier. Well, that's the only vacation pick I could get.
Right.
Because nobody went north. So I could get that first week in November. And I went up there and I talked my father into going. We had this old camper that his cousin had. Was one of them pop-up campers.
Yeah.
And we headed up the first week, and it was like 10 degrees every night. We got a little snow and stuff, and about froze to death. We had a Coleman stove, 2-burner Coleman stove, one of them mushroom dome heaters, and a Coleman lantern. And that's what we had. My father goes, he says, I'm not going till you get some better accommodations than that. But that was what, when I got there, because we'd hunted, his relatives had a hunting lodge down east, down on Fry Mountain towards Belfast.
Right.
And that's where I started hunting when I was 16. And it was good deer hunting and stuff down there. And
were you always a tracker from the time?
Well, we didn't have snow really in southern Maine then. I tracked rabbits. When I was a kid, we tracked rabbits to each other.
Exactly.
That's how I started tracking.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, tracked everything like that. But started with rabbits, and one of us would stay there where we jumped it, and the other would take the track and just once in a while go, whoop, and just so I'd know where we were, and that's what we did. Had 20, we did it with 22.
Dogs.
No, we did it with 22s when we didn't have dogs, and sometimes, the guy on the track was trying to shoot the rabbit just like deer. Yeah, so one of us, we'd shoot the rabbits and stuff, and that's how I started tracking.
Amazing as a kid when you find a track in the woods and you start to follow it. I mean, there's just something about it that gets into you, huh?
Yeah, and I got crazy about it, and then, so when I made that first trip in 1980, I went up there, and I ended up shooting a spike horn, and he had one horn. I shot it on Friday.
It's a unicorn.
Yeah, and he had white from his knees down were white, and his ears were white.
Yes.
No kidding.
And I thought that was a big deal. Back then we didn't care what it was.
Yeah.
And but it hooked me on hunting up north, and I had no interest after that. I did go because it was closer and hunted a few more times down to the relatives' lodge. But
once you got in those big woods,
it hooked me, and I tell people that.
Yeah.
You either love it or you hate it. In the big woods. Yeah. And I loved it, and I'm like, this is it. This is where I'm deer hunting. So I started taking. The next year I took my week again, and then when I started lobstering, when I worked for my father-in-law, he would let me take a week. Once I got my own boat and I had to pay for things, I couldn't take a week anymore. Yeah. When we get some bad weather and it was blowing, I'd get a day or two and I'd run up, and I did that like pretty much through the 80s, And then we bought the land in 88, built the first cabin. It was a duplex in 89. And then built another one in 91 and moved up in 91.
So you're 10 years into it, a lot of hard work, and you're going, I think I can make a go of this, right? And that's when that happened, about 10 years in.
10 years.
Of building the lodge.
Oh, and 10 years in and I hope hope we can survive.
You were still at that point, 10 years doing it.
Yeah.
When did you get to the point where I think I can make this go? And number two, when and how did you get to the point where maybe I do know a little bit about deer tracking and stalking deer? How did you get to that?
Well, I got to the point of knowing we was going to make it when we could pay all the bills every year.
Yeah.
Then it's working,
It worked this year.
It worked this year.
Yeah, and then you just hope it works the next year, but you try to do more,
Yeah.
And I had to, quite frankly, in the summertime, if anybody had work to do, I'd go cut firewood for somebody, split their wood. I'd do anything I could do to make a buck, I would do.
But that's why you're successful, because you're not lazy and you do whatever it takes to get the dream that you wanted.
Exactly right.
That's the difference between those that make it and those that don't.
It's almost identical story.
to yours, yeah.
Almost identical.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
I used to go to the turning mills and get bags of turns and sew them up.
Turns?
Yeah.
What's a turn?
They make legs.
The
Okay.
Dowels,
and
yeah.
Get the ends,
Then what'd
bring
you
them
do with
home,
them?
fill them up, sew them, bring them to the rafting companies, sell them for $5.
For firewood?
Yeah, and they'd sell them for 10. And I had an old Suburban 3/4 ton, fill it up every day, go to a different place. I mean, anything we could do to make money.
Yeah.
Anything.
Chase your dream.
Frogs. You'd go frogging all summer. We'd go Helgramite and we'd do anything to make a living.
Yeah.
I had a job one summer. The state, they were looking for people to do, put new outhouses in around the boat trip, the Moose River boat trip.
Yeah.
And on Holub and Adian and on the river. And me and another guy, I think we did 13 outhouses. They took them in the winter on snowmobiles, and they were like kind of prefab. We had to shingle the roofs after. We put the 4 wall. We had to dig the hole. They had a spot ribboned out, with a stake. We had to dig the hole, build the outhouse, and we got paid per outhouse.
Yeah.
And took us about 3 trips to do it. But anything we could do to
Well,
make
the dream of being a guide, the people think that you just walk right into it and it's all easy peasy. They have no idea that you're going to be bagging wood in the summer to sell and digging outhouse holes so that you can make ends meet. Hey, listen, let's take a break. And when we come back, I want to have you tell us about your progression into deer tracking, your notoriety, becoming an author, and how that all transformed. Can we do that?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by Modern Woodmen of America, a member-owned fraternal financial services organization since 1883, and by Pine Grove Programs, supporting veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by providing free outdoor opportunities to those who serve, have served, and their families.
Welcome back. Andy's got something to tell you.
Hey, we want to make sure that you support these sponsors that you say us bringing up, because without them, we couldn't bring you the program, and we couldn't bring you Pine Grove program and all it does for veterans and first responders. And Bob wants to thank a new sponsor that just came on board, who is
True Enterprises.
What do?
They put solar
Where?
all over the woods, wherever you want. They do big solar places. They also do camps all over these remote ponds. If you are on Moosehead, you don't have power, these guys will get you power.
Yeah, but I don't know what I need. I mean, I know I need solar panels.
Call them up. They'll give you everything you need. They stand with you. They fix it. They're there all the time.
They're going to design it?
They will.
What about if it breaks?
They'll come and fix it.
For how long?
Forever.
Oh, I like that.
So if you like being in the dark, running with candles and kerosene, continue. If you want power,
One of the
True Enterprises.
One of the funnest things that I like about this business is that I can leave Portland and I can go up in the woods for the summer, and they don't know if I'm in Manhattan or where I am, because my computer's working. I can be fishing from 5 a.m. until 10, and I can be in the office until 2, and then I can be back out in the woods, and they think I might be downtown. So a solar panel might be the exact thing that you need for your camp or cabin, huh?
This guy does a tremendous job.
Yeah.
My sister has them in one of her houses. She pays $20 a month for power.
That's awesome.
So,
hey, Bob, I know that I love the lobster bake that we just did.
it's something special in it.
No, it's very special because there's this big giant pot of these red things that when you put butter all over them, they just help build my physique that I have.
I see that.
And we want to thank the guys that made that possible.
Yeah, and they're really, really nice folks, and they help us out by donating lobsters.
Who are they?
I'm going to tell you, be patient.
All right.
Did your mother ever tell you to be patient?
No.
No, well, she
Maybe
should have.
once.
This is Hawk Lobsters in Hopswell.
Yeah.
And they have a restaurant there as well. Please go there and visit these guys. They just help us out so
You know,
much.
the real Mainers that believe in Pine Grove programs and the things that we do. And so anybody that can help, that helps us out, we want to help them out. So give them a call, Harpswell, Harps Lobsters. And one more, Bob.
That's right. Poland Springs has helped us for a lot of time. They donate cases of lobsters to
Cases of lobster.
Water to us.
Oh, water. Okay.
And we utilize them a lot.
We do.
We do.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to utilize one right now.
Okay, sounds good. It's good stuff, isn't it? Well, thank you very much.
Hal, enough of our silliness. We know you never do silliness on your podcast.
No, we never do that.
What's the name of your podcast?
That's the Big Woods Bucks podcast.
Big Woods Bucks podcast.
Yeah.
Now, for those of us that aren't that have never heard about Big Woods Bucks, is this a name you made up for the podcast? Is it an organization? Is it?
It's actually,
What is it?
well, it's my business.
Okay.
I have a business partner in that. We're 50-50. Ironically, he's one of my first guided deer hunters.
Okay.
So he was like a bad penny, kept turning up, you know. So
Yeah.
we started this business. But the name came actually from, I wanted to call that the woods something different. A lot of people always called it the North Woods, or like we have the North Maine Woods Association. But I wanted to call it something different, only for a definition, because that's what the title of my first book I wrote was, Hunting Big Woods Bucks. And I wanted the title to kind of show it's big woods. It's not just North woods could be anything. It was big woods. And that's what I wrote about, hunting in the big woods. It's nothing, you're not going to read anything about.
How did you get motivated to write a book? Who told you could write a book?
Well,
You're a Marine, for crying out loud. I didn't even know they could read.
and I got C's in English. I was an honor student in high school, but English was my worst subject. But anyways, I had this idea when I got out of the Marine Corps. I was thinking about writing a book about deer hunting, you know, because I was crazy about it. But that never kind of amounted to anything. But it was my hunters. I would come in, you know, guiding. I was guiding, and, you know, we had other hunters that were being guided, but also hunters that were just having meals and lodging. And I would just be at the dinner table, and they'd ask me about the day, and I'd just tell them, telling stories, and
You
just
want to write a book?
that's what they start. A lot of them started saying.
We do that with Bob all the time, and he's yet to write a book. So I'm asking if you would motivate him, maybe be a ghost author or a co-author, and get this man to write a book.
I can help him doing it. It's really not as hard as you think, because I had to really, you know, once you know the concept of how to do it, the
mechanics.
The mechanics of it, it's really not that, especially now on the computers. You got spell check,
and you can dictate, and you can dictate it.
You can do that now,
Yeah.
I typed all mine, and I type with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
I do. I
typing
type
twice
like
in school.
this.
I do.
Yeah.
And but
it was a success. People actually bought it and read it.
Yeah, the deer hunters were telling me that. You know, they said, we never heard none of this stuff. You know more than, you know, those other people, you know, you know, talking about deer hunting. And I'm like, I didn't know no different. I just knew what I
just telling your story.
And I had to learn myself. I didn't have anybody to teach me. My father wasn't, he hunted deer down southern Maine, and he putted around, but I didn't really learn any deer hunting from him. I didn't learn any deer hunting. A little bit from one of his cousins down at the lodge. You know, he kind of showed me some things there, but I had to learn from the deer.
Boy, it's the best.
And I learned that way.
That's the best.
And so, it was the first one. Yeah, it was a big success, I think, because the publisher.
How did you market that? Did you just have copies of the book at the lodge? I mean, how did you handle distribution and get it out in front of people?
Back then, because I think that's gone back. I think I wrote that first one in 2003.
Yeah.
So it's over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the publisher had a book club, and he put it in that. And the first edition which was a hardcover with a loose leaf jacket. He printed 10,000 copies.
Yeah.
And I could buy them for that discount price and sell them. And I just put an ad like in the Maine Sportsman Journal and like that, because there's no internet, you know.
Right.
Well, it was, but you didn't do things that way as much. So anyways, those 10,000 copies were gone in about 3 months.
No kidding.
I sold not just from that edition, but so then we printed another edition.
Yeah.
And that was a hardcover with a glued on jacket. That's how you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
But I ended up selling 3,000 copies out of my house.
No kidding.
Putting them in boxes. I bought the boxes at Uline, put them in the boxes, drag them down to the post office, and people sent checks. I didn't take.
I imagine that's one of the points too where you must have gone. Maybe I do know a little bit about this deer tracking thing.
Yeah, I knew that people had an interest, you know, and then I remember after when I did write the book, and another way I sold some was I said, well, I'll get a booth down the Maine Sportsman Show, and sell some there, and I sold 100-something books at the Maine Sportsman Show, and then I got a hold of the people, the guy that run the Vermont show over there in Essex, and sold 100-something over there, and then they asked me to do seminars, and then it was just
look at it today. I mean, you go from working in Hannaford, thinking about writing, to today you're doing a podcast that has how many people watch this podcast of yours?
I don't know how many. Each one varies.
Right. Depends who the subject guest matter. But it's very, very popular. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands. Sometimes.
Yeah, because we put ours now because we film it like yours, so it goes on YouTube.
Yeah.
But even when we first started, it was iTunes, Stitcher. You know, it went through those programs. Yeah. But right out of the chute, we were getting 10 to 12,000 downloads.
Yeah. It's amazing how technology and change and we don't have to rely on the television stations that control whether we can get a message out. Today, with today's technology, if you have a good message and a good story to tell, we can use formats like this to get it out. Yeah. It's fabulous.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it went there. The podcast started like I think it's like we're going into the 7th year on that. And then I wrote few years later, I wrote like a volume 2, I called it.
Yeah.
Hunting Big Woods Bucks volume 2.
Yeah.
And it didn't do as well because everybody thought it was the same old thing.
Yeah.
And so I learned not to do that.
Not call it the same thing.
And then a few years later, I wanted to.
Catfishing, Hal Blood.
Yeah. No, most of the way I wrote things was in stories. The lessons were in the story, and most of it was guiding hunters in the stories of what happened to illustrate the point of a technique, tactic, whatever.
Yeah.
I would say, and this is what happened. Joe Schmo shot this buck because he did this or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
that makes it a much more fun read. I think too many of these guys, whether they do their television shows or podcasts, they're too instructional, okay? And it's like reading or listening to a manual. If you can tell me a story where I can laugh and I can relate and you can teach me, I'm more apt to stay involved in what you're presenting.
Yeah. I had a lot of people told me, older people told me, I haven't read a book since high school, he said, but I read your book every fall before deer season.
Yeah.
Some people.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's good compliments, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's why I went from just writing the book and then into thinking I got to teach the people this. There's people that want to learn.
Yeah.
And that's really what the business was about, because my partner Chris came and he said, we should film this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
so is the business providing videos, or what is the business part
Well, we started out that way because it was DVDs.
Right.
So we have a couple of DVDs. We're not going to print anymore because people,
quite
frankly, a lot of people don't even have a DVD player anymore, right? So
what's the business model today?
The business model has always been to teach and entertain people. So to teach people deer hunting and also entertain them. And the entertainment obviously is through films.
Yeah.
You know, might be entertaining sometimes in a seminar too,
Yep.
or
Yep.
something,
Yeah.
but through films.
Sure.
And
how are these available? How can somebody see these
YouTube.
products?
So we have our YouTube channel, which we've had the channel for quite a while, but we never did a lot with it.
Yeah.
We were still kind of in the mode of, well, we got to put it on, DVDs,
Right. Old mindset.
post a few things on Facebook. And we kind of, basically what happened was me and Chris got the business about where we could get it with our know-how. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we had some people come along that were of the younger generation that were more in tune with that stuff, that wanted to be part of it and help out. And they're the ones that moved it to this level it's at now.
Nice.
So, and then Chris was the CEO when we started, and I was the president. That's how it always went. And then we had team members and to help with the teaching and whatever, because I knew when I started them seminars, and I'd be standing up there, and I know people were in the audience with a blank stare. They're like, that tall drink of water can do that, but I don't think I could. And I could see that in their faces. So I wanted to have some guys that were of all different shapes, sizes, and ages.
Absolutely.
And to be relatable, more relatable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, we've changed the way we do business, but the business hasn't changed. We have to change with technology. So now the main YouTube is kind of where it's at. You got to be there. And I think we have, I don't know, we've gone by the 100,000 mark. We got that silver plaque. I think we're probably getting towards 120,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And the same on Facebook, 115.
So you're at the point where you're generating some YouTube revenue, and then you've got sponsorship revenue and that kind of thing. But but that's not the core of the money, right? Does that come from the seminars and the guiding and the personal one-on-one, or
the guiding really is separate.
Okay.
That's a separate entity.
Like Randy does that school. I thought it was unique. I'd never heard of it before. I can come hunt with you, and you're going to teach me at the same how to learn to track deer.
I've done that I've done that since I started.
That's actually a marketing
thing. When I took
thing.
somebody deer hunting, they were there. They were going to learn something when I took them.
Did you sell it that way? In the beginning, when you
probably I did when I started doing one-on-one hunts, just taking one person. When I first started, I had another guide, and we took 3 guys each. We took 6 guys and did remote hunts a lot. And when I started doing my one-on-one, it was to teach people individually. So I've always done that. And then I have I call it a deer clinic, but it's a deer school. I do it every spring. I do 5 of them.
No kidding.
In May when the snow first is melted. So I take them in the woods and show them how to hunt. Not just track. It's not, you got to know how to hunt no matter what, because tracking snow is.
You don't have a track.
You don't have tracking snow.
You got to do something else.
Even up where we are, it's still, some years it's slim. So you got to go hunt anyway.
Yeah.
So I teach people, no matter what, whether it's stand hunting, where to do it, still hunting, all of it, tracking. So I teach that too. And
those are lost arts that people aren't showing others what to do.
Well, that's why I do it, and that's why our business is to keep it going, to pass it on to the next generations. And I think that's working. I've noticed that we have a big following with the younger people and stuff.
That's awesome.
And that want to get into it.
Absolutely.
And surprisingly now, there's a generation of, I don't know if they call them Xers or Zers or whatever they are, that they're kind of getting adventurous, and they want some adventure in their lives. And hunting is interesting to them again, or for the beginning of it for them. So, and then, anyway, so we have YouTube. And then we have the other business side of it, which drives probably a higher percentage of income, of course, is we have our own clothing line, wool clothing line.
Yeah.
And the swag, like everybody, we have T-shirts, hats, and all that. But there's very few wool clothes you can get anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially quality ones, So we decided, it's been quite a long time ago, we started dabbling into that. And Beagleware actually made it for us at first. And then they went under. And then Silent Predator said they'd make it. And then they quit making it. And now we just...
your own?
Yeah, we have we buy the wool.
Do it your own.
It's all made in the USA. We buy the wool. We've got a couple of stitchers. They do the stitching.
And they go to the Big Woods Bucks website to find this clothing and stuff?
Yeah, you look up Big Woods Bucks.
I love Beagleware stuff, boy.
Yeah.
At the time.
Beagle is gone, but it's a really, I got to say it, because we searched and researched wool, and you can get a lot of garments that they don't like to say recycled, but it is. It's they call it reground.
Yeah.
And it's no good. It won't hold together because they grind those fibers up short, and you can't weave it back.
Attach.
And there's a lot of that out there. And but ours is 100% virgin wool clothes. Everything we buy is made in the USA. It's stitched in the USA. And then on top of that, we have partnerships too. Like we have Minus 33 wool clothing, and they make the base layers. We always call long johns, but now it's base layers.
Oh, that's all high tech.
And socks and other shirts and stuff. So they can get any of our partner stuff by going to the website too.
You've got a big announcement for our audience out there.
Oh,
I mean, this is really just hitting the press. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So everybody thinks, because I've always used a pump gun, a Remington 7600. I've used that, and it's like an extension of my hands. You know what I mean? But there's other people that's fans of lever actions.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys like their bolt actions. So, anyways, we've been, looking around. We always try to we've had a lot of companies come to us wanting to partner or sponsor us
because of your name.
Yeah, and we've turned away a lot because it doesn't fit in with what we're doing. Yeah. If it's not the right fit, we're not just going to go hawk stuff. And I think that's probably why our reputation is good because of that. They know if we endorse something, it's going to be worthwhile and quality. And I told that to Chris when we first started. I said, because that's when the Outdoor Channel was hot and heavy, and I could see them, the hosts of that, anybody that would throw them $10, they'd hawk their products.
Yeah. Right.
And I said, Chris, I'll never do that.
Right.
If I don't believe in it, I may not use it because it doesn't fit in. But if I look at it and I think our people that hunt our way, our fans, if it's a quality item for them, I can get behind it. But I'm not getting behind everything.
That's a great
And we've turned a lot of them away over the years.
Good for you.
But one was we got to know the people at Henry Rifles, and I always liked the ads anyways because it was 100. They're made in the USA, right. and so anyways, some of the guys on our team run lever actions, and stuff. So they sent us some a few years ago. The team guys used them and reviewed them and promoted them or whatever. And then, so, sometimes it takes a little time to build relationships, And so we've been in talks with them we've been in talks right along, but seriously again in the last 6 months or so. And we met with them out at the NRA convention this year. We went out to that, me and Chris and Mark, and got into some talks with them again, and about what we approached them with is a line of guns specifically designed to hunt in the big woods, which is different, a little different. They got to be light, shorter, and fast, so, and so we talked to them about that, and they got on board with it. So they said, yeah, we think we're going to do something like that. So we flew out last weekend there and to do some filming to make the announcement anyways. And some people might have seen it by now, but once this podcast is out. But anyways,
we'll get a hold of that, and we'll show you folks what that looks like.
Yeah. So anyways, what it's going to be basically is it'll be a line of Big Woods Henry rifles.
Very
so
nice.
when you go to the Henry website, they'll be intermixed. Like if there's a certain model, because they might make 5 or 6 of this model, there'll actually be one in there that'll say, it won't be every model. This right. I think we zeroed in on 6 of their models, 6 of their guns. They have a Big Woods model that we can alter a little bit and make it a Big Woods model. And
how exciting!
So the one that's coming out, the one that's coming out first is called a Long Ranger, and it's going to be in 308 with an 18-inch barrel, and it's going to weigh 6 pounds, something, in the 6 pound range gun. There. Yeah. And the other thing about it is all ours will have our Skinner peep sight, because we've got a partnership with Skinner Sights, and they brand. We designed a Skinner peep sight. It's called the Big Woods Tracker, and it's basically a ghost ring. There's no apertures like their other ones. So that's specific to ours, and those Big Woods Tracker sights will be on all these
that's good.
Henry rifles with a fiber optic bead.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's like shooting a shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean, I shot that competition all over the place, and those ghost sights are fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever used.
With that bead sight sticking out like that. I mean, it's just like shooting a shotgun.
Yeah. And you have to be able to be fast in that style of hunting.
That's what it's about.
You don't have a long time to set up and wait, and you got to be ready to go.
Yeah, so it's a
good idea.
We're proud of that, and
you should be.
And it's a great company, and I couldn't believe we went on a tour of the factory too, because they've moved. They started in New York, and then they've been in New Jersey until I think 10 years ago, and they still have a little bit there. That's going to end, but they're in Rice Lake, Wisconsin now, and we toured the factory there, and the quality is it's unreal, because I had a brief stint. I worked for Remington, and that's what I did for them was quality improvement.
Okay.
When they had problems with their Marlin line, Remington owned Marlin and stuff, and even a lot of the Remingtons, and I worked on that. But I looked at these Henrys, and I'm like, they're just beautiful. The fit, the finish.
Well,
and
it
everything.
stays right with what you're talking about, getting behind a product that you believe in.
Yeah.
It just fits your model perfectly.
Yeah. And I don't say that to say, well, people say, what are you going to switch to a lever now? And I go, well, I use, like when I got drawn for moose hunt, I shot a lever on that. My pump gun is my deer gun.
Yeah.
But I can get behind lever actions, but a lot of our fan base, that's what they use.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Shifting gears a little bit, talking about getting behind things that you believe in. One of the things that I'd learned from Bob, today I learned it from him, is you're a man of faith.
Yeah.
How does that affect your walk and how you look at things in the world?
Well,
because we all share that same thing.
Right.
And it's important for us to let others know about that.
Yeah. So that, I think, comes in with what I talk about, getting behind something. You want people to trust you. You can't be false or fake, right?
Right.
You have to be true.
That's right.
And so when you get behind something, that's your word. There's an old saying, your word is your worth, right?
Absolutely.
And your word is your worth. And if your word's no good, people aren't going to want to be around you or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's been, I always, if you've watched any of my films and stuff on YouTube and stuff, I always thank the good Lord for my deer when I get them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
But it's bigger than that. I mean, it's bigger than thanking God for that deer. It goes beyond that, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, because I don't want to make it sound cliche, but a lot of people will say, my church, the woods is my church.
Yeah.
Well, it can be, yes. You can look at it that way, but
I can find God in the woods, definitely.
yeah, but I think that's a little simplistic, I think.
Yeah.
But that's where Bob too, we're busy with stuff, we're go.
Absolutely.
But when we have our time in the woods is when we can be with God closer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nothing to me. I live a very hectic life as well, being in the media business.
Sure.
My time in a tree stand,
Yeah.
when I don't have somebody that wants a piece of me.
Yeah.
You all have somebody that wants a piece of you.
Yeah.
We're constantly giving out to other people information, knowledge, part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we all have noise and cell phones and distractions. When we can sit in the woods and we can let the squirrels stop running around in our head, we can hear the voice of God and we can slow down and ask him, like I know you do every day, Dad, what do you got for me today? I know what I want to do. I know where I want to go, but really what should I be about today? And when you start your day with that mindset, but you can't do that in your home on a regular basis till you learn how to talk to him. And you can't learn how to talk to him if you don't filter out the noise around you. Hence, you end up in the woods, and now you can start to hear his voice and recalibrate your life to the things that are important. Do you feel that that's
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
true? Yeah.
Yeah. So I wake up in the morning. I get up early. I don't hardly ever need an alarm clock because most of the time I wake up as soon as it starts to get light. I have a lot of windows in the house, and as soon as it starts to dawn, that's when I wake up. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed. Sometimes I hate it because I might not have got to bed till midnight. And in the summertime, 4:30, it's starting to get light. And I'm like, oh, I ain't really ready to get up, but I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So first thing, my wife is the other way around. She has trouble sleeping and getting to sleep. So she sleeps in and she's on a little different schedule. And, but anyway, so yeah, that's how I start my day when I wake up. I have to do I call them my calisthenics, but I do stretching, to keep limbered up, keep my back from being bad. But every morning you got to thank God for another day,
That's
you get up and he gave you another day, at least the start of the day anyway. And, and then, you can, it's a lot of it too is, you can ask God what he wants you to do today or whatever, but I think he puts people there and things in front of you to make the decisions.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you have your decision.
Divine appointments.
Yeah, you can ask him what he wants you to do, but the answer isn't coming immediately necessarily, right?
So I'm going to show you.
Yeah, that's right. Along comes the day and
the things that happen, the things that you see, you could never plan or orchestrate to happen, that he brings together in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
And the people and everything. It's just wonderful. It's we're all here because of that.
Yeah.
Bob, you got anything to add to what's going on, what we're talking about, or questions that you got for Hal, or we're getting kind of short towards the end. Is there anything you'd like to?
There's a lot of young folks that would like to know more about tracking and stalking and just being in the wild, just being outdoors. And we would like to thank you for doing that. There's no teachers. There's nobody teaching these kids how to hunt. 90% of the people come here, they don't know how to walk. They don't know how to carry a gun.
I know.
They don't know.
Yeah.
There's nobody to teach them.
Yeah.
And they get frustrated with hunting, but they never had a teacher.
Yeah. So you know what I'm going to do this spring on my deer clinics? And a couple of guys asked me about it. They ever think, because I've had some kids come, their fathers would bring kids, you know, and I'm going to do a father-son one.
Good.
Nice.
One of my clinics will be a father and son one to get more of the kids all at once.
Sure.
Probably discount that a little bit for them. And
That's great.
yeah.
But,
Get
you
the
know, we
kids
got to
in.
teach these kids.
Oh, yeah.
They can't even say the word gun in school. They can't say nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, how the heck do you expect to have hunters when you I mean, I come and I say, you got to learn to pick your feet up. You're going to fall down all day long. I mean,
yeah. That's one thing. And people, just to make it quick there, but people don't understand that, that to be a good hunter, it starts with how you walk in the woods, where you go and stuff. I teach, that's one of the things I teach when I do my deer clinics and take them in the woods. It's amazing how many people don't know where to either step or where to
Isn't that amazing?
look down through the woods and where to go.
Yep.
Not their fault.
They're not
They
their
just
fault.
was never taught,
How
you
do
know.
they? How do they know if they're not shown?
Yeah.
I tell them, it's no deer down there.
Yeah.
You ain't going to see them. All you're going to do is see a flag.
Yeah.
Keep your head up.
What's the biggest obstacle before us in raising up a generation of continuing folks that love to be in the woods and love to hunt and have that passion? What's our biggest?
Well, I think if you take the whole big picture, the way society has changed, we've gone to a mother and father both having to work.
Yeah.
So that it's busier. It's a busier life for people. So the kids end up on their
Tablets
electronics more.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Do you think mentors are the answer to that? If you're a hunter out there and you know a kid in your neighborhood, maybe get to know the parents and develop the relationship and be able to take their boy with you. Is that part of the answer?
I teach that too. That's actually on one of my. I have a whole, lesson plan, and the last thing on it when I ended up is the next generation. And that includes bringing either a youth or a new hunter that's an adult. I found there's a lot of people that as they got into adulthood or maybe through their career and whatever it was, they're getting into it later in life, which is good. It's good because
anytime you get into it.
Anybody that adds to the equation, to the number. But yes, I always tell them, if there's any of the kids, if you know a kid, it might be a relative, a neighbor. If a kid wants to go hunting and you can inspire him to do it, take him. Yeah, because that's the kid. The future. The kids are the future anyway. No matter which way they turn, it's going to be the future, right?
It is.
So,
what's coming up next for you as we head out? And
well, we're getting into our fall seasons, right?
Yeah.
And this is when it gets a little busier. Well, it gets busier business-wise with, our Big Woods thing. It's changes for me because I'm not in the fall doing seminars and that type of stuff. Although I do this weekend, I'm going to the Hunt Stock event, doing a few down there. But I'll do some. I only take a few bear hunters now. Moose hunts.
Yeah.
I do a few moose hunts. I have one other guide, and we take a few moose hunters, and then we're off into the deer season.
There you go.
I've got 6 or 7 guides working and people doing their own thing. And
any advice to a young man or woman that decides they want to go in the guiding business?
Yeah, I used to teach a guide school for 20 years.
So what's your advice? If anybody out there saying, I want to be the next Hal Blood, what have I got to do?
My best advice for anybody that wants to be a guide is why you want to think about why you want to be one. And if the first thing that comes in your mind or the top 3 things is, I think it's a good way to make money, you ain't going to be a good guide. That's not, if you're thinking about doing it, and because I know there's been people go through my guide school that they wanted to get, because they say, I can take a week off work, take some bear hunters, and they're trying to add up the money. Yeah. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It will never work that way. So you have to be, if you want to be a guide, you want to be a guide to help other people. You're helping people achieve their dreams. What do they want to get? So I read this one time in a book, I can't remember the name of it, but it said if you help enough people get what they want, you'll automatically get what you want.
That's a great one. The title of your next book you're going to write?
I think it's going to be, I've been thinking about this. It'll be, I don't know the exact title, but it'll be something about the adventures of guiding. And it's going to be a humorous book about all the crazy things that happen, either with clients or dangerous things or trucks or whatever it is, getting out of situations. Yeah, I want it to be kind of humorous.
Well, that sounds good. We're going to look forward to that. We'll keep you posted when this new book ever gets put together. You'll be one of the first to know out there. Hal, thank you very much for taking your time to come down here.
I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for caring about the hunting community and all that you've poured back into it. You've definitely put more into it than you could ever have taken out of it monetarily. The people's lives that you've affected and changed and made this sport better is wonderful. And we thank you so much for it.
Well, thanks for the kind words.
Absolutely.
Maine Knows How. Brought to you by True Enterprises, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, Digital Spirit Media, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Maine Knows How